going to be honest, don't really know what I'm doing.
He was often a player that I would buy on Football Manager.
It's already a terrible reason.
From Jon Snow, Matt puts Dan's wardrobe to shame.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Look at him, the cat that got the cream.
Ian Taylor said it was the worst thing he'd ever seen in his life. Monk, really, I know he's manager. What kind of say this?
Gary Monk, 5 out of 10.
I haven't finished yet. I cannot believe Gabby had Bondahorse.
That's crazy,
That's
isn't
terrible. Yeah, we may well have lost listeners early doors again with a long-winded intro. Go, shoot. Hello, welcome to the Villa View podcast, episode number 25. I've gone back to naming the episode numbers for some reason because Daniel Rolinson gave us that information prior. So, happy days, we know that's right, and if it's wrong, it's not my fault. You may notice for those watching via the YouTube medium that Tom and I are both in Villa shirts tonight. That's because we're both off to play five-a-side straight after the podcast. Didn't actually realise that we're probably going to be in competing teams in the same league on a Thursday night, so it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. I don't think there'll ever be a video on that. I don't think there'll ever be a demand for anyone to watch me and you.
We should get Rolinson down to do a Villa View special.
I can't see him coming down from the Midlands to London to watch me and you prance around on a five-a-side pitch, to be honest.
And I couldn't blame him. I couldn't blame him for that. No. How are you? You all right?
Good, thank you. How are you? Well, we don't usually ask each other how we are.
Well, you usually ask me, but I never ask you. And I thought about that earlier, and I was like, it's fairly, it's rude of me, quite frankly.
I'm okay, as you know. International break's soon over, so I'm pleased about that. Although, actually, I've quite enjoyed this international break a little bit, mainly because I didn't watch England, although from what I did see of the highlights, they actually looked quite interesting, even though both games were 0-0. Yeah,
we got one question on Twitter saying, what did we think of Loftus Cheek and a couple of the other players? Yeah. I didn't watch a minute of it.
Good research is normal from Tom. He does a football podcast every week and doesn't watch any football.
I do. I watch Villa.
Okay, that's probably all you need to watch.
Yeah, I don't.
To be fair,
did you watch the game? You just said you didn't.
I watched Skip because I watched Italy v Sweden on the first night England were playing on the Friday, and then on the second night England were playing, I watched Republic of Ireland get thonked.
Yeah,
thonked, is that a word?
No.
Thronked.
I'm not sure. They're all the same.
Thumped.
Yeah, hammered.
And get thumped by Christian Eriksen and Denmark. Two enjoyable games. I was upset for Ireland because obviously we know a few Irish villains. Obviously we've had some great Irish players play for Villa in the past, but I must admit a little bit inside of me was a bit pleased to see Marcel O'Neill exposed a complete lack of tactical nous and plan B, losing 5-1 in the second leg of a playoff to get for the World Cup is not good.
Well, yeah, I mean, I saw your tweets last night, and I don't want to get back into that debate, but I mean, when you go 1-0 up, and they could have gone 2-0 up from what I saw from the highlights, you know, there is that. I mean, I don't really think. Again, I didn't watch it, so you are in a much more privileged position than me, but surely the team then should. The team are the ones that switch off. I know. I can't remember how quickly the 5 goals went in quick succession or not, whether Martin O'Neill had time to change it or not.
They were 2-1 down at half-time.
Right.
And he changed it, but his changes had absolutely no impact on the game whatsoever. Didn't have any creativity in the starting lineup for me, and then they suddenly brought on Houlihan in the second half, who I think always makes them look a better side, but they were just too limited, and obviously Denmark have got one of the best players in the world in Eriksen, and he exposed them. And what you're saying is true, there was a lot of individual errors, but it smacked of him at Villa a little bit to me. No plan B. And then people saying that he only used the same players all the way through, over-reliance, lack of bringing people through. It smacked of Villa.
I mean, Ireland they're in a decline. They're not the strongest team that they were maybe 4 or 6 years ago. Do you think it smacks a little bit of you continuing this hatred of Martin O'Neill?
Obviously, I'm going to dress it up in a way that suits my agenda.
Yeah.
And I think that is probably what I'm doing.
I told a lie, actually. I did watch a little bit of international football. I was in Switzerland last week, so I caught the second half of Northern Ireland, Switzerland. Very, very dubious penalty that sent Northern Ireland home.
You're right, jet setter nowadays. You're always abroad.
You know, it's a busy life. Busy life for me.
Hashtag lifestyle.
Yeah, so you and I, we're playing a bit of five-a-side tonight.
Yeah.
With that in mind, I don't know if you guys have been on social media. There's quite a popular pick your best five-a-side team at the moment. So we thought we'd do a little Villa-inspired one, didn't we?
Yeah.
You've got yours in your head. I've got mine on my notes.
Would you not be able to remember it if the notes weren't there?
I would, but I just
It's only 5 players.
I like having notes. I've got a sub-spec. No, I haven't really.
I'm going to have one sub.
I've got one sub, actually.
Security blanket there with your notes, isn't it? It's just a comfort. It's just a comfort thing for Tom.
Do you know what? I like to have them. There's a bit of news. There's a bit of.
I understand it for the rest of it, but surely you don't need it for the five-a-side.
I just like putting it in order.
Okay, fair enough.
All right,
you might forget who the goalkeeper is.
Well, yeah.
Okay. No, you go first.
All right, I'm going to go first then. Starting goal, Peter Schmeichel. Some of the best.
We should explain the rules here. Is it just any ex-Villa players that you've seen play?
Oh yeah, I'm just going with any ex-Villa players.
Okay, fine.
But these
it has to be ones you've seen play, I presume.
Well, yeah. Otherwise, that'd be stupid, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So I've gone Peter Schmeichel in goal. Not a good start. Peter Schmeichel in goal. Some of the best reflexes ever. Huge man, mountain. Very, very tough to beat one-on-one as well. I've gone for my defensive player. I've gone for Gareth Barry. He's going to do the hard
midfielder.
Yeah, but you don't really need a defender, I don't think, in five-a-side. You don't need a traditional defender. You need somebody that bring the ball out, play and move up the pitch if necessary. So I've gone for Gareth Barry because he's in that middle role. He'll do the work, a lot of stamina, and a good leader as well. We always need one of those. And then the rest of my team is quite an attacking force. I've gone for Ashley Young. You need one trickster in there. You need a guy who's going to be creative. He's going to be dynamic, and nobody gets close. I've gone for Paul Merson, just a great player. And then I've gone for Juan Pablo Angel as well. Hard-working, skillful. I think he'll tuck in when Ashley Young gets a bit lazy, stays up a little bit too much. Juan Pablo Angel is going to get back, do the dirty work, and just help out the midfield in that team. I think it's strong. I think it's attacking. It's exciting. That's the most important thing.
Have you got a sub?
Excuse me. I was thinking maybe Paul McGrath in at subs just to bring him on. I don't know whether his knees would be able to handle the.
I don't think we're talking about as if he's playing now. No,
but even then.
Yeah, true. He'd get through. Jim Walker would sort him out, the old Villa physio. Yeah. He always looks after God. So
he'd be a good guy to bring on when you're kind of 3-1 up, 4-1 up, and nursing the lead.
It's decent.
All right.
I've probably overthunk five-a-side. Overthunk, is that a word?
What's happened to you?
I've probably overthought the five-a-side concept a little bit too much with I've got two players the same, which isn't good for content.
Right.
But I have gone for two the same.
Okay.
So I've gone for a bit of a left field shouting goal. I've gone for David James.
Right, okay.
So I decided that he was probably the most agile of the goalkeepers we've had in my time. He probably had the best frame and he'd fill the five-a-side goal.
Would he get down quick enough?
Yeah, he was quick. Quick reflexes. David James could still play now.
But what if he's in his kind of in his phase where he's counting everything and he goes a little bit.
No, you need an organiser there as well. I think he was a good organiser, David James.
Well, he was, but he had a bit of a blip, didn't he?
That's too much computer games at Liverpool.
Yeah.
It wasn't. He's past that stage now.
Right, okay.
In his 40s. I don't think he probably plays too many computer games anymore. So I think out of all the keepers, I think he's the one that's most suited to five-a-side.
Okay.
And I've gone for Paul McGrath defensively, just because he's the best player that Aston Villa have ever had, arguably, and he's someone that you should have in there, in my opinion. So I think you need a defender in five-a-side. I think you need a designated defender.
Gareth Barry would be the guy that stays back more, but I also like the fact that he's calm on the ball. He can control it. He passes the ball really well, and he can see a through ball as well. When Ashley Young's darting across.
True. I can't remember much about McGrath's distribution, but I think it was quite good.
All right.
From what I do remember as a youngster.
Right, go on then, carry on.
I've got Gareth Barry as the left central in my five-a-side diamond formation.
Yeah.
I'm going with all the reasons you went for, and I thought on the left he offers a nice bit of balance. And I've also got Merson on the right, just because he's a very, very good footballer, probably the best natural footballer I've seen play for Villa, although I think maybe work rate and fitness might be a bit of an issue, which is why I've got my sub on the bench ready to come on and interchange with him. And then striker, I just went for Dwight York, because I think he was the best footballer out of all the strikers that we've had.
Right, who's your bench?
Milner.
Right, okay.
When you need a bit of energy.
So someone
who's going to run around the pitch, someone who's going to close people down when you're holding on to a lead or when you need the ball back.
Just bringing you behind the curtain a little bit. Dan was very confident about his five-a-side, and everyone there, you're just like, Milner, Dwight York. You don't seem as confident anymore.
I think you've completely made that up.
No,
I don't think I did that at all.
You definitely did. We can go back.
Well, I will go back and I'll have a look. I'm put it this way, I'm very confident my team would be your team.
Oh, I don't think so.
I've got the legs on the bench to bring on Milner and see out the game.
Well, I've got the legs on the pitch. I think yours is too rigid.
I think my striker's a better finisher than your striker. I loved Angel, but I think York was the better finisher, more complete footballer.
I think in a five-a-side setting, Angel's your man there.
No, I've gone for the complete footballers, I think, in my lineup. I personally think my team would smash yours.
Well,
not smash, but it would win.
I mean,
but we'll let the viewers decide.
Yeah, there's an opportunity for a poll there if Dan Rolinson wants to put it up.
Put it in, Rollo.
You guys get your five-a-side teams in. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I would like to see some five-a-side teams, but I want some reasons for the players as well, like the reasons we've gave.
Yeah,
because David James may seem like a silly one on the surface, but when you listen to my reasons, maybe it's a bit more reasonable.
Yeah, that's good. I liked it.
Thought about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well
like
done.
you just drafted down the first 5 players that came into your head.
Well, that's not true.
No, no.
I did a lot of research. I had to go back and watch some old tapes of Michael earlier today.
VHS. You get your VHS player out.
Right, so it is international break. There's not a huge amount to talk about.
Not since last week.
But there is some big news that came out in the last 24 hours, and exciting news, I think, in this podcast studio. We're both fairly happy with it, aren't we?
Keinan Davis.
Keinan Davis.
It's good news. Quite pleased to happen because he's given us something to talk about.
Absolutely.
Always a bonus on the podcast.
So Keinan Davis has signed until 2020. Young striker signed from Biggleswade Town, the Sticks, famously, in the new chant that's going to rip through the whole end pretty
He's
soon.
going to rip through the whole end at any point.
He scored 2 goals this season and has made himself a bit of a squad mainstay, really. Not always starting, but certainly a player that Bruce can rely on, and we should see him again against QPR this weekend. What do you make of the signing? Are you happy?
Yeah, very happy, because there was some talk in the press that he wasn't going to sign, and to be honest, he's been linked with some teams that aren't plausible for me. As we've discussed before, he's best off staying at Villa and continuing his development. Obviously, he signed on, so that shows that he thinks the same.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
I'm pleased with it. Very pleased with it. The 3-year contract thing, I've heard people. One of the questions that's come in is about the 3-year contract. To me, it makes sensible, because you have players that burst on the scene, and then a year or so later they're in the comfort zone and they're not trying as hard, they don't work as hard, they're not as effective. It's happened with a lot of Villa players in the past when they'd sign a contract and then they'd just disappear. So I think it protects Villa. It depends who was pushing for that duration. It depends if the club wanted to give him, maybe the club wanted to give him 4 or 5 years. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it makes sense. It was a bit of a serendipitous signing, wasn't it? Like the way
that means.
The way we found, well, like,
It just happened.
Well, no, it was a kind of by chance, but with joy, or with a good thing. So it's good for Villa that he came, but kind of just taking his chance, Keinan Davis, and really cracking on from there. I mean, he's played for the England under-20s as well in
He's
his
had a
time.
massive development curve. The curve just kept rising, and he's done very, very well. He's
Yeah.
achieved a lot in a short space of time. From someone who, when he got released from Stevenage, he must have been thinking, I could be finished here. But he's a good lesson to footballers that do get released, that he's knuckled down. He's dropped lower down the leagues, and he's been discovered, and he's got his reward now, because he's probably on a relatively big money deal. I know it's not all about money, but he's comfortable for the next few years. He's playing for a good team at Villa, a top championship side. Hopefully one day he'll be a Premier League player, and that'll be the acid test if we ever go up. What happens with him?
That's a dream come true, isn't it? What you've just said there, it's not about the money, but the fact that you're centre forward for Villa, and Steve Bruce, I think, said the same. It's been a meteoric rise. Not much more than a year ago he was playing for Biggleswade, but he's an old-fashioned centre forward, the sort Aston Villa have always been associated with. He's known rejection, and he's come through. He's grasped his opportunity, and he's doing everything right at the moment. And that's exactly what you want from a young player, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's important that he keeps doing everything that he's done to get this far and doesn't drop off, as I've said, it has happened previously.
Yeah.
With young footballers and young and old Villa players, he needs to make sure he doesn't get into a comfort zone. Now he always needs to try and exceed himself, which is what he's done so far. He's done very well. He won't play the whole season. He won't have the stamina. I mean, I thought it was quite interesting that they said that when Villa signed him, they had to get the sports scientists to look at his diet. He wasn't eating right. He wasn't as perhaps bulky and strong. His hold-up play wasn't as good, but his hold-up play now is exceptional. If I think back to when we had Rudiger Stead lumbering around, probably a year ago, he was probably still playing for Villa, lumbering around. He's someone who's been around the
left
game.
in January, didn't he?
Yeah, he's been around the game for a long time at a relatively high level, and his hold-up play was rubbish. Keinan Davis is very good for someone so young.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the sports science side of it, because there's, you know, Keinan Davis has got all the physicality, he's got the attributes to play, and it's just that quality professionalism that a team like Aston Villa could give you, rather than Biggleswade or even Stevenage, with all due respect, who just have that little bit more time, that little bit more money invested in him, and a plan just to make him the player that he is. There was a question as well about whether, when we go up, if we go up, I should say,
I wish it was when.
Yeah, well, true. Is he going to be one of these players that we can rely on? Obviously, he hasn't scored as many goals as we might have liked. He has made some chances, though, and created some chances for himself. Is that going to come with his development, do you think? Do you see that in him?
He'll add more goals to his game at some point. He is still a little bit raw, and I think we need to remember that. He isn't the finished article by a long way, but it speaks volumes that he isn't the finished article, and he's come in and had the impact that he has. I mean, the game a few weeks ago at Preston. He didn't score, but he got man of the match. Just because he's not scoring doesn't mean he isn't contributing, because I think he's making other people better and he's creating space for other people.
Definitely.
I think, Horahan, Snodgrass, Onuma, they've all popped up with goals while he's been on the pitch, and we weren't getting goals from anywhere else other than up front with Codger last season. So I think he's unsettling defences and creating space for midfield, and he's occupying defenders from set pieces probably as well, which we've obviously seen Chester and Terry both score recently. So he's doing a very, very good job. Just not all centre forwards. I mean, you think back to Michael Owen for England and Liverpool. His favourite strike partner would have been Emil Heskey, who wasn't prolific, but it was because he created space to let him score and do the stuff that he did. He did best, and Heskey did the stuff that he couldn't do. So Davis is bullying and becoming a bit of a battering ram, and he's making other people better and making their games more effective.
Absolutely, yes. So Davis signs, good, another young product. I think Bruce was excited about bringing the youth through as well, and that's really good. And we've got other players like Callum O'Hare knocking on the door as well. So it's an exciting time for the Villa Youth Academy. The
scout who picked him up and brought him to Villa deserves a lot of credit, because he saved Villa some money there. Yeah, because we would have probably if we didn't have him, we'd have been after a centre forward and of his ilk, of his type. Yeah. If we didn't have Keinan Davis, so that guy does. I don't know who it was, but he deserves an enormous amount of credit. And Bruce deserves credit for keeping him in the team. I know he kind of had to play that Norwich game because there was no one else, because everyone was injured, but Bruce didn't have to keep him in. And that's credit to Davis as well, because he's made himself undroppable from the squad. But Bruce has shown some faith in him and he's been rewarded.
Sure. Well, let's go from one youth guy that we're really excited about to one that we're perhaps not so excited about. Aaron Tishabola returned to Villa Park last week. He was on a season-long loan at MK Dons, but they cancelled that last week. Tishabola played 16 games, scored 1 goal in the EFL Cup.
But that many?
Yeah, 16 games. I mean, he didn't start 16 games.
No, but I'm surprised he was involved in that many and they've let him go.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's an interesting point, isn't it? He got sent off on the 7th of October against Bradford and only played once after that. What does this mean for Aaron Tishabola?
I can't see him getting anywhere near our team. If you're being let go from MK Dons, if MK Dons are happy to cut the loan short and let you go, it's unlikely you're going to be making an impact for the Villa first team unless you do something very special in the under-23s. But I think maybe something's gone on with him and Bruce last season, because he obviously was very happy to send him out on loan. He didn't really get a chance under Bruce. But again, it maybe comes down, I don't know what's gone on, but it maybe comes down to attitude. He's gone down a division, and if he'd have gone there, played really well, made an impact, he would have had a future. At Villa, maybe we would have had the option to recall him in January. It's like Davis. Davis has showed some attitude and some application since getting knocked down. Tishabola's been knocked down and doesn't look like he's done enough, because the MK Dons fans seem pretty pleased to be rid of him. Yeah, well, it was one of those. I read the statement as well, where it's just like, we thank Aaron for his service and wish him all the best, but that's it. There's no positives to be gleaned from that. There's no, what a great attitude he showed. We really, really appreciate your time. There just wasn't room at this time. It was just like, thanks, you're gone. We need to know the facts of what's happened, really, before we speak about it. We can speculate all we like, but it'd be interesting to see the MK Dons manager's press conference tomorrow and Steve Bruce's press conference, if that comes up, what they say on it. I wouldn't imagine it would come up, would it? It might come up in the MK Dons one, but I wouldn't imagine Bruce would speak about it. Well, he's back in the squad, so he's back in. Well, he won't be in the squad. I know he won't be, but he's back on the premises. Yeah, all he'll say is, Aaron's back with us, MK Dons finished with him. They must have to give. You must want to give. A journalist would push him for an answer of why, I'm sure. I don't know. A good journalist would. I mean, you're the trained journalist there. I am the trained journalist. You tell me. Yeah, but it's so far down on the list of questions, I imagine, on this week's press conference. You know, we're excited to see actual football again. I would imagine Aaron Tishabola is not the headline news. Well, you say it's not the headline news, but nothing's happened this week. We're talking about it. But we're going to Villa news, isn't it? But we're going to talk about QPR. Why are we talking about Aaron Tishabola? It's on my notes. I know, well, exactly. So it might be on a trained journalist notes. Yeah, but this is we go deeper here at the Villa. Do we? Yeah. Do we? Okay. Playing QPR Saturday, first game without John Terry this season. Obviously, if you've missed it, John Terry broke his metatarsal. Will be out for a hefty amount of time. We don't know exactly how long, but it's going to be a little while. How do you feel about Saturday coming up? We'll get onto it a little bit more later. But we should mention that we'll be recording the preview after we've recorded the podcast I believe the preview would go out after the podcast. That would make sense. But so we are going to talk about the QPR game.
Well, they both go out on Friday, won't they?
Yeah, in Tom's matchday preview debut. We'll see how he gets on, whether we let him on one of those. Again, he's finally been allowed off the leash into other realms of the Villa View. Happy about that?
Kind of happy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you don't seem very happy.
Well, this is like your five-a-side thing. I don't know. Sometimes they just got chucked on me. Like today, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm doing a preview. You know, I'm a professional. I just need to get on with it.
Because we know you're that trained journalist that can jump through hoops for us if needed.
All right.
Late notice.
Get back onto the question. John
What was
Terry.
the question?
John Terry, how you feeling playing
good.
QPR without him?
Not good. I was speaking to a QPR fan earlier, our friend Dean Spencer, not going to the game this weekend. He was saying the QPR fans were really looking forward to John Terry coming back to give him some stick.
Yeah.
So John Terry's probably in a way a little bit pleased that he's not playing.
Nah, he loves that stick.
Maybe, yeah. I imagine he would have got pelters though.
He's got the better end of QPR more times than he hasn't, for sure.
True, but I was thinking though, it's another ex-QPR player that's probably going to be playing instead of him. No, I say another. It's going to be an ex-QPR player playing instead of him. Samba played for QPR, didn't he? It was a big money signing for 15 million, and then he went back to Russia straight after when they got relegated.
Yeah, but I heard Miller Jednak on Talk Sport today saying that he was ready to go.
Oh, really? Was there an interview with him?
Yeah, so he spoke to Jim White this morning on Talk Sport and said, I'm ready to go. I've been told to be ready, and it looks to me like Jedinak's going to be the option, especially after his hat-trick midweek.
I know, what was that all about?
Yeah, he hasn't scored for Villa yet, but maybe Saturday's the day.
He looked like he did not know how to celebrate.
Oh, yeah.
When you could see he'd never really scored a hat-trick before in his career.
If I ever score, I don't know what to do with one, let alone three.
No.
You know.
You don't score very often.
No.
We'll see. We'll see in the league. We'll see in the five-a-side league if we play against each other.
But John Terry, yeah. So I would be leaning towards Jedinak starting rather than.
I think Jedinak will start if he said that, but I don't think he'll be playing at centre back.
Okay.
I think Samba will play. Samba's been brought in to be the third choice centre half. So if your first choice centre half gets injured, which has happened, it'd be a bit bad in a way if Samba doesn't play. It wouldn't say much for Christopher Samba.
Yeah, but I mean, Steve Bruce isn't there to make everybody feel good, is
No.
he? He's there to pick the best team he can.
But you also look back and you think Jedinak was ideal to come on against Sheffield Wednesday when Terry went off, and he didn't. It was Samba that came on. So by that logic, and the fact that Samba came on after a very, very iffy 10 minutes, steadied himself and grew into the game and ended up scoring at the end, I'm 99% sure Samba will start.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would say there is that there's been a couple of weeks in between. Jedinak's played a couple more games. He's got a little bit more match fitness.
I know, but he's
on the other
jet-lagged.
side of that. He's had a
I can't believe he's on TalkSport. Should be in bed.
Yeah, he really should
not be on TalkSport.
You're right. So he's had a long way to travel. It'll be interesting to see. That's what I gleaned from it. But we shall see. What's the biggest thing that we miss without Terry?
Organisation. And just being in the right place at the right time. He's very good at that. He puts himself in the right positions. He's got a nous and know-how that no other Villa centre-back will have. Maybe Chester will do in another 3 or 4 years. Chester puts himself in the right place more often than not. But Terry's just got that all-round nous, and I think he makes players believe in him. I mean, I'm giving you 15 million reasons there. He makes the other players better as well. He makes them stronger. I think they're more comfortable with him there. I just think he's a big miss psychologically. I think we looked all over the place when he first went off. I mean, we didn't look particularly in place when he was on the pitch at the time. We had a bad game. Obviously, we had a bad day at the office, but we'll just be a better team without John Terry. And he's played so many games that he knows what to do in certain situations. It's like Whelan. Whelan knowing when to buy a free kick, when to put his foot on the ball. Defensively, John Terry will know the defensive equivalents of that. It'll be a massive miss because we haven't got anyone as good as him to come in and play there.
Yeah, it was very hard to replace somebody with John Terry's experience, his, like you say, his know-how, his organisation, and it'll be a massive test for Villa this week, won't it? But QPR haven't had the best start to the season. They're kind of mid. I think they're 17th, aren't they? But I think they're 5 points or so behind Villa. Ian Holloway loves to beat Villa. Obviously, he couldn't do it last year, but this is a game that he'll be looking at and going, "I want to get something." Like Dean Spencer, the QPR fan, was saying, QPR want to beat Villa. Maybe more than they want to beat other teams sometimes.
Well, QPR have beat the teams that are up near the top at Loftus Road. They've beat Wolves and Sheffield United so far at Loftus Road.
Yeah, they've only lost once this season.
And then they go and get stuffed away from home at Forest 4-0, and Forest haven't been pulling up any trees, excuse the pun.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Have they this season? So the Championship's a crazy league, and anyone can beat anyone on any given day. And QPR will up the game. as you say, main worry for me away from home is that I'm going to the game and my away record is horrendous.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not good at all.
Yeah.
I've done maybe 3 or 4 aways pretty much the whole time I've been going the Villa a season. So, on average. And I've seen us win 3 times.
Wow. That's pretty pathetic.
And 2 of those are in the same season.
Yeah.
Within a few weeks of each other.
I went to the Reading game earlier this season, and that was dreadful.
It's not boding well, is it?
It's not good. Together.
What about Mrs. Julian's away record?
Mrs. Julian, she often goes to Southampton.
Does she?
Yeah, and since...
Well, we don't care about that. I'm asking what's a Villa record?
Her Villa record is nil, I don't...
She's never been to a Villa game?
I don't think so.
So her son support, mind you, my mum, actually, I don't know, my mum's never shown an ounce of interest in football whatsoever.
So my mum is interested in football. She's the thing is we don't live near, or we grew up in Cambridge, so we don't live anywhere near Birmingham.
No.
So she's been her mum is from Southampton. She's gone down there a fair few times. Takes my little sister, and they win quite a lot down there. So maybe it's her with the lucky charm rather than Southampton.
Hopefully. Is Mrs. Julian looking forward to meeting me?
She is. We went home this weekend.
Yeah.
So for those of you new to the podcast, new to the Villa View in general,
we don't usually just talk about our families.
Sometimes we do. Me, Dan, and my mum and dad, and my wife, and you and your dad are watching the Villa QPR this Saturday.
In restricted view seats.
Yeah, as always.
Disgrace. £27 for restricted view is not on, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I went home.
20's plenty.
I went home this weekend. I totally agree with that. And we talked about it. She's quite excited to meet you. She's keen to let you know her views on white kits.
I mean, she's been brought up a number of times on this podcast. Her disdain for white kits has been a hot pressing topic.
She's a very influential woman in my life.
Well, so, I'd expect her. I'd expect her to be. She's your mum, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why she's so involved.
Has your wife been to a Villa game before?
No.
There's all kinds of debuts going on.
Yeah.
Going on here, isn't there?
And she's given the green light for Sheffield United at home.
Has she?
Well,
ooh.
Around Christmas time.
Oh, nice. Is she going to come as well?
I think so, yeah.
She's getting the bug, Tom. This is what you need. You need to get her involved. Well, and then that makes life easier for you.
That's why we started to play golf. Oh. But she's got the bug. She hasn't been yet. Oh. So that bug might be killed on Saturday.
To be honest, I've been to some of Villa. I've took Ange to a few Villa away games. A couple of them 0-0s.
Yeah.
Not exciting. Ange's first game was Fulham 0, Aston Villa 0, Alex McLeish's first game. And it was probably the worst game of football I've ever seen. Both teams, absolute dire. Not
to dwell too much on commenting on my mum again, but the last time I got her tickets for an England game, she took the Sudoku and did that.
Well, she better not be doing that on Saturday. I've got a reputation around.
Yeah, you do.
Around the Villa fans. I can't have that ruined by having a crazy lady doing Sudoku.
Well, she's not crazy.
Well, she is if she's doing Sudoku at a football match.
It was so boring. That's why.
You shouldn't have that with you. Why has she even got Sudoku with her?
I'd say it's well prepared. She wasn't interested in that.
That's the kind of thing I can imagine you doing. Just getting out the Guardian midway through the game and seeing what's going on in the current affairs.
I would say it's better than booing. It's your own silent protest.
No, I'll tell you what, you'll get beaten up if you pull out the Guardian in the Villa away end.
Oh, I've got a reputation now.
A little one, a slight one.
A very small.
I feel there's more on the line for me than there is for you.
It's fair enough. Should we talk about the BBC for a second?
Why?
The BBC released their cost of football update. I think they do it yearly or every couple of years or whatever. Do you want to know some facts?
Go on then.
Aston Villa, on season tickets, where do you think we rank?
Out of what? Give me some context.
The Championship.
How expensive?
The cheapest season ticket. How?
Not well, probably.
Where do you think we would rank 1st to 24th?
First being the highest?
Yeah. No.
3rd?
12th, mid-table.
12th, well done, Villa.
Yeah, so £322 is the cheapest.
I was going off the price of my season ticket in my head. No. Mine's £5.20, £5.30.
Big spender.
Well, no, it's just that I don't want to lose my whole 10 seats.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Birmingham, actually the cheapest.
I did see this.
£230.
Embarrassing. Embarrassing that they don't fill it.
Do you want to know how much last year every Villa home goal cost you? Well, not cost you, but cost.
I don't mind hearing about last year's, but I wouldn't like to hear the year before.
When
we went down. Oh, was it?
Well, it depends how much you value a goal.
Well, I quite like them, to be honest.
£9.85 a goal.
Bargain.
Do you think?
Yeah. No.
We didn't see enough goals, quite frankly.
At home, that's it.
At home, yeah.
Relatively good at home.
Not so bad.
Away fans have probably been shortchanged for a number of years.
Yeah.
Until this season.
Ginger Luke, another away day regulars.
You might meet Ginger Luke on the 23rd if you're doing fan cams, if you're around for that game.
Yeah.
Oh, you've met him before, haven't you? Because you played at the game.
Yeah.
at Villa Park. Sorry.
And I spoke to him on the phone as well.
I'm a bit of a nightmare tonight.
You are a bit.
Yeah,
You're
sorry.
focused on the game, I reckon. Your head's
I don't
already.
really care about the five side that much tonight. I haven't played for months. I'm worried about the fact I haven't played.
Dan told me earlier that tonight was a trial game.
That's
for
what
him.
I got. No, not for me, for the team.
Oh, right.
I've got one of the guys I'm playing with knows what I'm about. He knows I've got mistakes in there.
Speaking of QPR, their cheapest seats are £30, home seats, obviously.
Yeah.
They're the most expensive in the Championship.
They're a joke. I remember going to watch a game at Loftus Road in the Premier League, and we lost 2-0, which I think Charlie Austin scored twice. And I was on the back row of the upper tier. It cost me £50. My knees were up against the seat. I mean, I'm relatively tall, but I'm not Peter Crouch.
No, you're not that tall.
And my knees were just up against the seat the whole time. It was a disgrace, and the game was a disgrace.
They also have the most expensive cup of tea in the league. Care to guess how much that is? You're not a tea connoisseur, are you?
No, I don't drink tea or coffee. I'm a weirdo.
£3.20 for a cup of tea.
I don't know how much it is at the Villa to compare.
Yeah, I mean, it's always
I
expensive.
think a Bovril was about £2.80, so a cup of tea would be about the same price.
Yeah.
At the Villa, I'm imagining.
Well, an average day out at Loftus Road is thought to be £48.80, so I hope you're bringing your change.
No, Mrs. Junior's going to treat me.
Is she?
No,
Which one?
I don't know. Oh, yes, forgot there's two. There's two. Obviously, my dad's met you before. I keep dwelling on our school trip that we're taking on Saturday. My dad's met you before, so that's less pressure for you. Your wife's met me before.
Yeah.
Not sure I've made the best impression.
No, you were okay.
Okay, just
your wife, yeah.
Yeah, she won't be happy with that coming up in the podcast at all. She won't listen. Don't worry.
No, that'd be fine. My mum's excited to meet you. My dad's heard a lot about you.
It's an eclectic mix of people.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Yeah.
It'd be good. Should we get on to some questions? There isn't that much news. Sorry for the. It's more of a jovial podcast, isn't it? Today?
It is really. It's chilled out.
We'll get back into it next week. We're going to do obviously the QPR reaction, and we've also got the Sunderland game as well on Tuesday. So we'll probably do the podcast after.
We need to sort of if we're doing fan cams or not after QPR. Okay. We haven't really discussed that, have we?
Yeah. Well, we could get my mum on.
What? Is she any good with it behind the camera? We could do someone to film it. No.
Well, she can try.
No, it's fine. We'll sort fan cams out and let you know via social media on the Villa View whether fan cams is happening on Saturday. Probably be a bit of a wasted opportunity not to do it as we're both there. Would be a bit silly.
That'd be fun.
So we'll sort something out. It just relies on one of us going behind the camera, which, as we've seen previously, neither of us are the best at that kind of thing. Probably. I don't think I would be.
No, I'd be a bit shaky, I reckon.
Yeah. I'll be annoyed if we'd lost as well and want to speak rather than film.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right, let's get into some comments from last week. Oh man, Junks1 has actually called me Thomas after you keep referring to me as Thomas.
Can we call him Tommy, please?
Tommy.
Prefers Tommy.
I mean, you can call me what you like. I've been called a lot worse as a former referee.
You got called Tom Foulian once on a night out, didn't you?
Tom Foulian. You love it, don't you?
Very funny.
I asked last week what Bruce could do to change some Villa fans' minds, because there seems to be a selection of people that it doesn't seem he could win every game for the rest of the season and still people would want him out before.
As Tom says, we dig deeper.
We do.
Dig deep.
Yeah, so we got a response from Junks1. He says, for a start, he needs to be more attacking. He's had over a year, and you can count on one hand how many times we've actually dominated the game. He seems to have a mindset of not losing the game, and a win is a bonus. I feel like that's changed this season.
It's been better. It's been definitely been better this season than last season, which our league position probably tells you that it's been better.
Yeah.
But there still is the odd game where you think, why don't we go for it a little bit more? But I'm sure there's reasons behind it. I'm sure things go on behind the scenes of professional football clubs that we don't understand or don't know about.
I feel like we've taken opportunities now, like with the Snodgrass signing, with Adoma's bigger role. Now you've got Jack Grealish coming back, Onuma signing instead of Jack Grealish. I feel like Bruce took opportunities to make the side more attacking.
He hasn't got. One of the main things is he's obviously got 20 goal a season striker in Codger. Arguably, he's probably maybe thought Hogan could be a 15 to 20 goal a season man as well, because he's done it previously in the Championship. So, hasn't worked for Hogan, as we've discussed at length so far. And Codger's been injured and hasn't fully got back into the groove yet. So he's brought the players around them that, to be fair, they are popping up with goals, and we've definitely been more clinical this season. Once we get either Codger or Hogan or both firing as well, we probably will be a force to be reckoned with, and he'll probably start to go maybe a bit more attacking when he's got them back to the form that he wants.
Junks goes on to say, I don't dislike the guy, but a couple of months ago he stated his target for last season was to keep us up. Yeah, we talked about that. That was a silly thing to say, wasn't it?
It was heat of the moment.
Yeah, that is just complete nonsense and insulting fans' intelligence. If we don't make the playoffs, then next season will he say that the target for this season was to stable the ship? I mean, if we don't make the playoffs, he won't be there.
He won't say that either.
Yeah.
He knows the remit is playoffs at the very least. I mean, to be honest, I thought automatics was the remit.
Well,
maybe it still is.
To finish Junks' comment, the squad we have should be top 2, no excuses, which means roughly 2 points a game on average. I just don't think that's possible with Bruce's style of football. If he does scrape up through the playoffs, then I fully expect to get relegated next season, as his record for relegations from the top flight is outstanding. See, this kind of just proves my point a little bit, where you said,
I think it's raising a valid concern with the relegations.
100%. I don't disagree with any of the points technically, but even if we did start playing attacking football, it's still a competitive division. Like Junk says now, it's still going to be hard to get into the top 2. So if we don't, but he does play attacking football, if Bruce does play attacking football, is Junks' opinion going to change? You know, if we're averaging, like, I don't know, 1.7, 1.8 points a game, we finish 4th, that doesn't seem like it's going to be enough. It seems like the bridges have already been burnt.
It'll only be enough if we get in the playoffs. It'll only be enough if we go up. If we don't go up, people will want him out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, but that's kind of what I'm saying.
Sometimes it's better the devil, you know, as well. You don't know what it would be like with someone else in charge.
I would fully agree with that. Jack Hurley, I think we hold on to Bruce. Only man I want to replace him is Olaf Melberg. But he needs top flight experience, which he will get next season. So Bruce, for the time being, is okay.
It'd be a dream to Melberg to become a successful manager and come and create a dynasty at Villa. That would be an absolute dream. If I had to put money on it, I'd say he'll probably manage Villa one day, Melberg.
Mark Hendy, great podcast as usual. Glad Micah Richards came up. Not sure what his current fitness situation is, but surely a guy that has won the Premiership and has 13 England caps could do a job for us in the Championship. Disagree with that.
It's a different time.
Yeah, everything we've seen from him looks poor. He can't stay fit. I worry about that.
I do think fitness is his main problem, though. He's not a bad footballer.
Well, we don't know, do we?
Well, he isn't a bad footballer. You don't do what you do in the game if you're a bad footballer.
He's a completely different guy to the.
Yeah, I know, and that's probably because of injuries. I don't think he's down to attitude. I think he's down to injuries, as we said last week.
It's one of the same thing, isn't it? At this point, you know, if you can't stay fit, then you can't play. Christian Kessler, Tom's chants are actually class. Everyone knows "Party in the USA." Well, thank you, Christian.
Well, Christian, they don't, because I don't know it.
Well, I mean, maybe you're the exception.
I'll ask round. We'll ask round on a Saturday.
Yeah.
See if people have heard of it.
Yeah, should we start?
We'll start a Miley Cyrus questionnaire, shall we, round Loftus Road.
Brad Bird agrees with Mark Hendy. Think Micah Richards deserves a chance, which I think is interesting.
I think he'd get the chance if he was fit, maybe.
Dalian McGuffey, really hope that JT being out doesn't completely ruin our season. I totally get that we look a different side, and losing to Sheffield Wednesday was the first loss in 12, so I have no idea why people are overreacting. However, I think that JT has a huge influence on us looking as a different side. I would go with Jedi as a replacement. He knows the team more and how to organise, and Samba being our fill-in centre-back really worries me regarding his fitness.
I think we've lost 2 in 12 because we lost to Wolves, didn't we?
I think it was good run 2 in 12 home games, wasn't it? It was the home record.
Was he saying 1 in 12 at home?
I don't think he said that, but that was the record.
I can't remember.
As far as I'm aware.
Let's see what he's saying about Jedinak, but I think Jedinak, if he plays, will be in midfield this weekend.
Dean Caffrey, he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't regarding Bruce. I was critical at times last season and early on this season, but I'd always give credit where credit's due, and we look a lot better this season. At times, it seems fans want us to lose to feed their Bruce out agenda. That negativity helps no one in our goal of going up. We're in the playoffs, so everyone needs to get behind the team.
I think any genuine Villa fan wants us to lose.
No.
I think people can be a bit smug on social media afterwards when we lose. Sometimes, I told you Bruce was rubbish, that he's clueless. People like doing that, but I think they'd rather Villa were winning.
Yeah.
But in the main, we have been winning.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's too much to complain about.
I think that's the point, though, isn't it? That as soon as we do lose, you're right, there is a smugness. It's like, well, Bruce was at fault for this.
Told you so, told you so.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, I don't like that.
You might have to do the tweets because I don't have any Wi-Fi in here.
Wow.
As I'm not part of the Sky establishment anymore.
You're not?
No.
Enjoying being out?
Yeah.
To be fair, I work here and I'm struggling with the Wi-Fi myself. That picture, I don't know. For anyone who didn't see the picture I put up of Tom earlier, it is quite spectacular.
I think I look quite fashionable, apart from the chins.
Dean AVFC says, I've seen him wanted on Crime Watch on the photo.
Seems unfair.
Yeah.
Cheers, Dean. I liked Kieran Hand's question.
Would you be happy to finish the league in the position we are now? You go first.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I would be as well. I wouldn't be happy, but I would take it now if I was offered it, because it would mean that we've got a chance of going up.
I think so too, yeah.
Because I think autos is going to be a bit too much for us.
And like we've talked about before, we really don't know what we're going to be like as a defensive proposition without John Terry. It could be a bit of a derailer. So, I mean, I hope it won't be, and I hope Bruce is a good enough manager to be able to manage an injury. But we'll see. It's a massive loss. Good question, Kieran. Thank you.
Max Stokes, whereabouts are you both sitting for QPR? I don't really know. I've not examined the tickets. We're relying on my dad remembering to bring the tickets as well.
Yeah.
That's another issue. He's getting very old very quickly. I'm worried about his memory.
That would be a blow.
He needs to bring those tickets. I will be sending him a lot of reminders.
Good.
Mum's usually in charge of that kind of thing. Actually, to be fair to him, in his life, he's not been very good at looking after things and organisation. But one thing he's always got right is Villa. Yeah. He's always on top of things where Villa are concerned.
Good
normally.
Stuff. Good stuff.
We'll let Max Stokes know where we're sitting. I'm not sure at this current time, just that it's in the upper tier, and I've probably got a big bollard in front of me. Aston Radford. Will Yednak's successful international stint over the past week come at a cost for AVFC when he's needed at a time of huge need? I think Aston needs to review his use of the English language, but I get what he's asking. Yeah,
it's a long way to go, isn't it, for an international player? I mean, he's captain, and he bangs in the hat-trick, so, you know, good for Australia.
I mean, to be fair, I was a bit against him going because he's not played many games, but then on the flip side, we talk about commitment to your country and whatnot. He can't be faulted for that. He's putting his country first, which is what, as international fans, is what you want to see. But as a club fan, we've probably no allegiance to Australia. You want to see him put the club first. But he's come away unscathed as far as we know. It's just it is a big ask for him to come in and play on a Saturday when he's probably only getting back tomorrow, Friday.
Couple more?
Yeah, do a few more. Callum Mace will do yours next week. He says, with the fixtures coming thick and fast through the Christmas period until New Year, how many points do we need to get to stay top four-ish? He reckons 22 out of 30. I'd say at least 20 off the top of my head, but we'll review that.
Yeah, I'll get some notes.
At a later date. Thanks, Tom. Your notes, always pleasing. Villa mad. Is Grealish going in January as reported in the press? I would not have thought so.
No.
I'd be shocked and upset if we sold Jack Grealish. I think that's just lazy paper talk, and as we saw with the Keinan Davis talk, there was a lot of talk in the papers about him not signing, and he's ended up signing. I think Keith Wildness has been very vocal about fake news in the media, and I think I tend to agree with what Big Keith's saying.
It's great to see the Keinan Davis signed because it does prove what Wyness was saying, and it just kind of reinforces the trust you have in that club. And sometimes these things escalate and they go on, they become a bit of a saga. It's good that we've got that signing done and dusted before January even starts.
Yeah, David Hunt's asked about what changes do we make, so we'll discuss that in the preview. So David, if you tune into the preview, you'll be able to see what we think of that. Flip-flop, Sky Sports Championship predictor has us finishing 15th. Thoughts?
I think that's madness.
I'd love to know how that predictor works. Yeah. If someone can give me more information on that. I don't see us finishing 15th.
I mean, generally between 7th and 15th is pretty tight, isn't it? Last year there was only like 5 or 6 points between them, so I guess it's all automated and they've just gone with it. But that seems wildly off to me.
Yeah. Simon Summers, results following the last international breaks have not been good for us. Do we rest more players and use the squad better on Saturday, or are we forced to use key players due to our position? I mean, to be fair, Chester and Taylor, for example, have played in friendlies, meaningless friendlies, so I don't imagine they exerted themselves as much as they would have done normally. Whelan didn't play. Not too many of our players, other than Jedinak. I don't think Codger even went away. So for the first time, we shouldn't have had too many play a lot of games, so we should be okay.
Shouldn't have gone away, should he? Because he's still nursing an ankle injury.
No. Well, it'll be interesting to see whether he's back on Saturday, hopefully he is. But I think in the previous international breaks, our players have played more football than they have done, than they have done this time. So hopefully that bodes well for us.
Yeah. Just to finish off, unless there's anything else you wanted to get into.
No.
We had a couple more iTunes reviews, so thank you to the guys that are doing that. That's really helpful. We appreciate it. We're pushing for 100, aren't we? Getting pretty close.
Yeah, not far off. So if you want to leave us a a cheeky little review after this podcast on iTunes.
Maybe
please,
not after
can you
this
do
one.
that? Yeah, actually, it has not been. I always think this, but it has not been the best podcast at all today. Probably best that we shoot after that revelation.
Yeah.
So we'll let you know how we get on in the five-a-side. Maybe one day soon we'll be playing against each other. Thank you very much for all the support you give the channel. The videos will start ramping up again now the international break is over. I think we've just hit 9,000 subscribers as well on the Villa View, which is another amazing milestone, and something personally when I first got involved I didn't think would ever happen. Hopefully we'll see some of you at Loftus Road on Saturday. Don't be shy, come and say hello if you want to come and talk to us. If you want to know a pie recommendation from Tom at the game, I'm sure he'll be able to.
Stat.
Don't worry about that
Forget
for now.
about it.
If you want to know what pie to get at Loftus Road, Tom will be on hand to advise.
Expensive.
Stick with the channel, stick with the Villa. Whoop, up the Villa.
Up the Villa. Cheers, guys.
Kicking in the studio. If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.